Hello and welcome to another episode of Absolute Bedlam Podcast. I've got the mighty Kinasis, or 3/5 if you're into your fractions, on the call with me. So, hello, Marcus, Tristan, and Noah. How's it going?
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Greetings. Yeah.
I think I've spoken to Tom and Marcus a couple of times as audio only, so it's nice to actually put a
The
face to
last
the
time,
voice.
the last time we had an interview, I remember I was sat at the side of
Yeah,
the just off the M5 junction after
yeah,
finishing work.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
that I drove about 4 minutes out of work, and then you were like,
Oh,
"Right,
fuck.
it's go time." Okay.
Oh dear. You know you can say no, right, Marcus?
No, I don't want to.
Fair enough. All right,
He's a people
cool.
pleaser.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So, Kinasis are back.
hmm
Can we just get a quick lowdown on anyone that has been living under a rock? Who are Kinasis and what genre would you class yourselves as?
Right, we are. Uh, if you're into your fractions, we're 5/5 of a multifaceted kind of metal entity, verging on the progressive, um, for fans of. I hate the for fans of because that's almost impossible with us. Um, and Yeah, basically that's who we are. We
Hmm.
have been a little bit quiet as of late. We took a lot longer to get over COVID than everybody else, I think. But finally, as of today, actually, Ben,
Mm.
today, we are now firing on many cylinders, as opposed to we were like a limp 50cc moped about 3 weeks ago, and now we're full bore ZXR 1100.
Let's go. Fantastic. Awesome. So yeah, how long have each of you been in Kinasis?
Kinasis started, oh, Tristan, 2000, and I want to
Around
say 2000,
2010 we started.
yeah, around
So
2010. Yeah.
Christ. Bloody
Yeah.
hell.
So eons,
Yeah.
absolutely eons. But yeah, we started in 2010. Tristan and I and Tom have been there since the beginning. Tom's our singer, for those
Hmm.
uh, who are wondering. And Noah, well, like Noah can explain himself in a second, but Elliot was our manager's
Yeah, yeah.
son. So
Rachel.
our
Yeah.
manager's is Elliot's mum,
Hmm.
was Elliot's mum. And he used to play for a rather successful band called Cambion.
Hmm.
Cambion used to play, they've played main stage Bloodstock, Download, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Did some really good stuff. And Cambion kind of fell to the side. And it just happened to be the year that we played Bloodstock last 2018. Our original guitarist, Tom, left, because he just didn't have the capacity. And Elliot happened to watch us play a show about 2 months before and said to his mum slash our manager,
Yeah.
"I wish I was in a band like that."
Hmm.
And then Tom left, and Rachel, who was our manager, was like, "I happen to know someone who might
Yeah.
be interested."
Mm.
And then Elliot fell into the fold, practically exactly the same time as Noah did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I spent about a year sessioning for Kinasis before I actually joined.
Yeah.
I think that was around 2017, and I joined around, I think it was August 2018.
Hmm.
yeah,
Um,
but that's because I spent how many months badgering you? Endlessly, just endlessly. Noah,
Yeah.
Noah, do you want to
and
join?
now, 8 years on,
Do
Yeah.
you want to join?
So, Noah, are you still classed as the baby of the band, as the sort of most recent member?
Always, always.
Right. Yeah.
Baby face, yeah, the lot.
Blink, blink twice. Blink twice if you're in danger, Noah.
Show me when they touched you on the puppet.
Safety word zebra.
Jesus. Love it, love it. Okay, so I saw your post on Instagram earlier. So you're promoting your new single, Human Disease. I've just had a listen
Yes.
to it. I got a bit of a Corn vibe. I don't know if it's just Tom being Jonathan Davis on the chorus, but I obviously really enjoyed it. Like I'm a big fan of Kinasis or whatever you call yourselves on Thursdays or whatever. You know, we've had this discussion at nauseum, haven't we, Marcus? But
We have.
obviously I've seen you guys several times, and yeah, it sounds like a sort of call to the classic version, if that makes sense. But I also appreciate that you've got some new members and they've got new flavors and they've added something unique to the mix.
Yeah, big time. So before I think with the new single, so it technically it's actually called this is sound. Do you want me to get my full pretentious head on
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're going to go full prog now. Technically, it's called Human Disease Part 4 of Mendacity.
Okay.
Um, it's because we're into that. We've got a huge story arc that goes over our entire album, which
Yeah.
bizarrely enough, considering how long ago we wrote some of these songs, is more apt in today's world than ever
Mm,
before. But with regards to the new song,
mm.
I think what Elliot and Noah have brought in is a solidity with regards to how we approach writing a song. I think what we tended to do before was perhaps steer away from the formulaic, sometimes I think to our detriment.
Mm.
We'd wind off onto all of these things and we would not necessarily repeat themes or come back to ideas, which can be great in certain aspects. But I think what we've managed to achieve, especially with the new single, is a kind of solidified, obvious start, middle, and end. And it's like a whole song in a package.
Mm.
Like I said, sometimes we could go off for 7 or 8 minutes and do
Yeah.
all stuff and riffs flying about all over the place. Sometimes you'd have the craziest riff that would be on for about 8 seconds, and you'd be like spending the rest of the song going, I don't even know what that meant. But now I think with Noah's ability as a drummer, which is otherworldly, and amazing songwriting skills from Elliot, with what we already were,
Mm.
it just felt so much easier. And also, as a songwriter, it was nice to uh, have a little less. This sounds strange, but a little less input because
Okay.
before I would be all over it and
Yeah.
I'd be responsible for a lot of it. This time it was nice for Elliot to come into the room and be like, I've got this idea.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Let's do that then.
Take it off your plate a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool.
So I think what we've got is the new album is a little bit more. I don't want to say this to some degree, but it's true. It's a little bit more accessible than our last stuff, but
Okay.
without coining the term selling out, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. We've got all the stuff that we always ever had,
Mm.
but now it's in a more sensible and accessible order, if
Cool.
that makes any sense.
Love that. Yeah.
But I
Fantastic.
mean, you say about the corn vibes. The thing about our stuff is, and we've always said this, people have always struggled with
Yeah.
us when it, like I said a minute ago, with the four fans of.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is because we have the thing I think with us is we don't really have any rules, do we? And if we like it, we'll put it in. Doesn't matter what it is, we'll put it in. If it
Mm.
fits, we'll go with it. And I think you can probably hear 50 different influences throughout the album. So many different stuff, things and stuff that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think you've got a quite clear. Yeah, I imagine a lot of people come up to you after a gig and say, "Oh, that sounds like Sugar or Fear Factory or
Yeah,
some
yeah,
strapping young lad." Or
yeah, exactly. Those are three that we actually
yeah,
do get quite a lot. We
Yeah,
get Sugar
definitely.
quite a lot. We get Fear
Mm.
Factory quite a lot. We get a bit of
yeah,
Strapping Young Lad occasionally. Sometimes even I think we've had System of a Down a few times.
okay,
Um,
yeah,
Occasionally we've been hearkened to. There's Pantera moments, and there's somebody said Slipknot at one point, and all kinds
mhm,
of stuff going on.
yeah. And I know that when you used to play live, and hopefully you'll play live again soon, but you used to do some Rush covers.
We
And
used to,
it kind of throws people for a bit of a loop because there's nothing quite like a good Rush cover to kind of break that sort of expectation that you just need to be super fucking heavy all the time, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, exactly that. We used to cover Tom Sawyer
Yeah.
because I'm a Rush addict.
Hmm.
They're my favorite band on earth in the history of all music ever. And I managed to convince everybody, especially our old drummer.
Hmm.
It was like,
Jason.
Jace,
Yeah, yeah.
Jace, we're gonna do a Rush song. And Jace is like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And Tristan's like, oh shit.
Oh no, I was quite the opposite. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just
Yeah.
they're not easy. They're not an easy band to cover. And I think it's also
Big
because
shoes to fill.
big shoes to fill, yeah. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of it was is because we love them. And it was something to throw out that was a bit different.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people who wouldn't normally necessarily pay attention to us would then pay attention to us,
Hmm. It's an
if that makes
interesting.
sense. Like I remember playing a show.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was, but it was near Brighton, I think. And it was this venue, and it wasn't particularly busy, but there were a lot of old school rockers kind of floating around. And then we,
Hastings, it was.
sorry, Hastings, that's right.
Yeah.
And then we played Tom Sawyer, and literally the place was rammed. Just because people don't often hear a
Yeah.
band like us suddenly start banging out Tom Sawyer. It
Mm.
just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And we liked to do that because it was a bit different. It wasn't like we didn't want to pick a metal song. We could easily have done, yeah, let's cover Fear Factory, or let's cover Meshuggah, or let's
Mm.
cover
Hmm.
like everybody, all metal bands do that. We were like, no, let's do something a bit more classic and a bit more
Yeah.
complex and a little bit different and out of the box. And every time we played it, it usually went down so well because back then we still had the foot keyboards
Mm.
and all of that kind of stuff, which we don't use anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would be triggering all the synths with my feet while I was playing the guitar. And it was just, yeah, we did it proper. We did a proper job of it.
Fantastic.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Right, so as a five piece, you've always been a five piece, haven't you?
Yes.
Do you guys write music together in a room, or do you come up with stuff on Cubase, Ableton, whatever the kids use nowadays? I don't even know anymore. I'm too much of a boomer. But do you go to practices with like bits of songs, or do you all focus on one sort of thing in the moment in a 3 hour sort of rehearsal?
It depends.
Hmm.
It's happened all of the ways that you just said.
Yeah.
So occasionally I'll get to the studio an hour before everybody else, and I'll just pick up
Mhm.
the guitar and warm up, and I'll be playing a riff, and Elliot will walk in the door and be like, "What's that? That's cool."
Yeah.
And that's the beginning of something.
Yeah.
Or Elliot will come in and like, "I've got an idea."
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Or occasionally, what we did, a couple of the songs on this one is I had an idea about 5 years ago. I'll see if I can dig it up. And you dig up a really old crap version of a soundbite, and you're like, that's a riff I had.
Yeah.
And then that riff ends up writing a song.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we because we are very easygoing and flowy with that kind of thing.
Mhm.
We just see how it goes. But when it comes to actually writing, we all tend to sit in the control room and write together. But we all have our time. So Elliot and I will come up with the guitar parts, And then Tristan will start messing around with bass ideas all at the same time as when Noah will sit on his laptop and go like, right, this is what I think I need to do with the drums here. Because what we tend to do is write rough drums, don't we? Noah? Throw them at you because of what that gives you an idea of groove or the kind of feeling that we want the riff to be. Because it can be very different. Someone can hear one riff and think that needs to be like a backbeat, and then like Noah's like, no, I hear it like blast beat,
Yeah.
and that changes the riff completely, and then that can take you somewhere else again. So we tend to sit in the same room, but then I think Noah especially sometimes goes away and then comes back um, with the ideas. And Tristan, I think what we did with a lot of the bass parts was sit back and record him playing along with the songs and be like, that bit was cool, or you did this bit and that bit was really cool. Do that or do a run. Especially, what's the song, Tris? Is it House of Lies? Doom, doom,
House of Lies, yeah. House of Lies
that.
was quite an intricate bass line that took a bit of splicing and a bit of work as well. But after it did take a bit of effort to write it.
Yeah, yeah, but
Um,
it sits so beautifully in the song.
yeah, and it's very percussive and it's quite it's got a nice sort of like it creates a nice lot of movement to the track. Definitely. So I'm proud anyway.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
pleased.
yeah. There's a
Cool.
couple. There's some really wonderful bass parts, and obviously, it's really easy. It's really easy to be in this band because everybody's so very good at what they do.
Mm.
That's the that's the beauty about it. It's like
Yeah,
throwing anything at them. You can throw anything at them and be like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. As guitarists that are now sort of approaching the new age of fan frets and all that sort of chaos, are all of you guys using that technology nowadays on your guitars and basses?
I've got a Fan Fret 7
Yeah.
um, because of the drop tuning.
Okay.
It helps with the drop tuning, helps with the intonation on the lower scale.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got
What about you, Tristan? Are you on the fan fret train?
No, I'm not at the moment. So
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
stick with a Warwick Thumb 6 or 5
Yeah,
string,
yeah. That was it. Yeah.
just because I just love the beautiful earthy tone, and they're just pretty gnarly sort of instruments, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah,
this is my other
That's
baby.
cool. Oh yeah, I
yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
my S, my
Mm.
beautiful S, which is rarer than rocking horse shit.
Yeah, the
Uh,
headstock's quite a unique thing, isn't it? And it's
beautiful,
super,
beautiful.
super close to your chest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful. It's literally the best guitar I've ever played. It's so beautiful, and I love it dearly. But it's bloody rare,
Yeah.
so I tend
Fair
not to
enough.
take many places.
Mm.
But I've got the fan fret because it's just easier. Elliot's got a fan fret.
Yeah.
He practically bought the same guitar as I did after having a go on mine. I think it's an RG1527. I think it is. If you want to be technical about it, if
Hmm.
you want to be technical, I believe it's an RG1527. But this one, beauty about
Yeah.
this one is the Ibanez, obviously. Um, I always play Ibanez, and Ibanez are mostly made in Japan.
Hmm.
However, they did at one point have their artist factory or artist builds were done in the States, and only rare guitars would come out of the States. This one came from the States.
Got yeah. Cool. So, Tristan, are you intrigued by fan frets in terms of companies like Dingwall that just make those kind of basses?
I have thought about going with Dingwall
Yeah.
definitely because they too are fantastic instruments as well. So, but I'm too attached to my Warwicks to be fair at the moment.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
So
Maybe in
yeah,
due course.
yeah.
Um,
Within due course, I have toyed with getting as an NG2 Dingwall, probably a 5 or 6 string.
yeah.
They are lovely though.
So love that.
They are really.
Yeah,
Even I covet a Dingwall because they are such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're really lovely.
In terms of Kinasis currently saying earlier, you said you were firing on all cylinders. What kind of mode are you in at the moment? Are you recording,
No,
writing, booking
no,
gigs?
no. Well, so we are in the process of releasing.
Okay.
Um, so we went into the studio many, many moons ago to record this album. with Justin Hill, who
All right.
some might know as
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lead of Sixth. We went to record, and I believe the last day we came out of the studio, the 2 days later, maybe 3 days later, lockdown. And that's, I'm not going to lie or beat around the bush, it kind of screwed us.
Hmm.
We had so many things going at the time, and I don't know why, but lockdown seemed to hit us exceptionally hard.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of personal things going on for a couple of us
Mm.
during that time, and it's just taken us a long time to recover from that because the knock-on effects of a couple of things that were going on behind the scenes kind of held fast. And the other thing was a couple of us got hit financially, and that is another issue with regards to releasing because it's not free. And
Hmm.
videos, the other main thing, I think the main thing that put us back, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think the main thing that put us back was because when we went into the studio, we had all our videos booked because we had a series of videos that we needed to do. And it's like, we can't release without videos. And then obviously lockdown, that's a good 2 years of mess. And then when we came out of that, everybody else who'd lost the opportunity to do their videos were then trying to rebook their videos. So when we tried to book our video, that's going to be, it's going to take us, like, we're not even going to film it for another 9 months. So then there's another year gone where we're waiting for the videos to go.
Hmm.
And then it's our videos, all three of our videos so far are quite CGI heavy, so they need a lot of editing work. And obviously the person who's doing the editing work is still catching up on other work. So
Yeah.
those videos have taken us, God, when did we film Human Disease? When did we film the when was that? 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was in Exeter, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That we
two
were,
years, nearly over 2 years ago, we filmed it,
Mhm.
and it's only just coming out because that's how long it's taken for us to
Yeah.
get that. So we are just trying to get the shit out. We we have
Mm.
been sat on it for so long. For us, it's so not new, but for everybody
Mm.
else, no one's heard it. And we've done a couple of gigs, but
Yeah.
because we didn't have anything going on, um, it was difficult. So yeah, we're kind of just toe stepping back into the scene, if you like, and we've decided to start. We've got a couple of gigs booked this year, um, but we are mainly focusing on getting the stuff out. And if good gigs come along, then we'll deal with them when, if they come along.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to get the stuff out. That's where we are at the moment. And today we announced the single for Human Disease coming out, which comes out on the 4th of April.
Cool.
And that's where we are. So yeah, I mean, as for gigs, like I said, we've got a couple lined up this year, a couple of good ones. But one thing that I think we've all agreed on is we don't. There's certain gigs now that we don't want to do because I think Noah and I were discussing it last night. How many times have you got in a van, driven 5 hours to play in front of 32 people? It's cost you 500 quid in hiring a van and
Yeah.
like all of this, and then you're leaving and you're driving home and you're just like, that was totally not worth it.
Yeah.
That was totally not
I
worth it.
totally feel that.
And
100%. Yeah.
and it's just that that's not our bag anymore.
Mm.
We don't want to traipse around the country. We've done that.
Yeah.
Uh, it can be fun, but it ends up being more just a night out with the lads as opposed to a useful tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the gigs that we've got this year so far have been good ones. So
Yes.
we're like, yeah, we'll take those and we'll do those absolutely.
Yeah.
But gone are the days of going to the arse end of Scotland. I mean, how many gigs have we done where it's just an evening with your peers? You just end up playing in front of all the other bands, or like the time we played Glasgow once in front of the bar staff. It was just,
Yeah.
three random dudes that walk in.
Yeah.
It's like Glasgow's a long ass way
Yeah,
to
man.
go to play in
Just
front of
just a
absolutely
little
no.
bit.
especially in a van that turned out to have a JCB differential on it. So we were
Yeah.
being overtaken by lorries and stuff like that on the M5, M6, and we didn't realise how slow we were going until we saw the actual, the situation. So it took us
Well,
10 hours
because
to get
The
to
Speedo was
Glasgow.
saying 70. The Speedo was saying 70, and we were getting overtaken by lorries, and we were like, but they can only do 60. This doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
It's because we were doing 48 miles an hour on the motorway.
It's because we were doing 48 miles.
Yeah, it's good to
Mobility
have
scooters could have overtaken us.
it's good to have stories and it's good to go on adventures and stuff, but
Right.
you want them to be financially viable as well as funny, and sometimes it
Yeah,
feels like you just go to a random city and you're also in a band at the same
yeah,
time. Oh, this is convenient, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I know what you
exactly.
mean.
That's the thing. Like you said, the financial. Because let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest. With regards to music, there's not a lot of money in music as it is,
Mhm.
and as we were getting to the point where we were covering our costs with shows, which was
Yeah,
great, but it's still it's a lot. It's a lot.
yep,
To because we had our own van, but that's no longer on the road. So if we play shows now, we have to hire a van, and
yep,
there's a cost straight away, and then you
yep.
have to feed it yourselves for anywhere up to a day and a half, fuel,
Hmm.
possibly accommodation, and it's like for us to play a show, sometimes it could cost us 400 or 500 quid to play a show. How much are you going to give us? We can pay you 60.
Yeah,
It's like.
yeah,
uh, And it's like, so you do that 5 times, it's like that's a lot of money. It's 2.5 grand that
yeah,
we're spending to play 5 gigs, and only three of them, or two of them, or only
yeah,
one of them have been worth it.
yeah.
You
And
know,
you've earned 300 quid.
and
So,
that's the realism of
yeah,
it. You've got to be realistic because, especially the the current climate and all that business, we can't afford to throw money at that kind of thing. Videos cost a lot of money.
yeah,
Recording costs a lot of money, and I know we have our own studio, but the whole reason for us stepping outside of our own studio is because we wanted to work with someone else.
yeah,
Um, I
completely.
I personally don't like being our producer, engineer,
Yeah,
and guitarist. I don't like it.
I
I
feel that.
I much rather someone else deal with the production and the engineering,
Hmm.
and I can just be a guitar player.
Yeah.
Because we recorded our first album ourselves.
Mhm.
And however much creative freedom it gives you, and however much time freedom it gives you,
Mhm.
it does become a highly stressful. I find it quite a stressful situation because I found that I didn't know which cap to be wearing at certain times.
Yeah,
So
completely.
I take off the creative cap and put on the engineering cap. But and then I'm realizing that I'm neglecting the creative side because I'm more worried about where a mic's going to go
Yeah,
than playing my part. So I'll
yeah,
spend 3 hours setting up a sound, and then I'm just like, oh, do you know, the last thing I want to do now is play something in 19/8 for the next hour and a half. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I don't want to do it. And
totally.
that's difficult. I'd rather someone else comes up and does all of the stuff and then goes, right, Marcus, here's a guitar play.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Do that.
I know what
But
you
it
mean.
costs all these things. Being in a band is expensive. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
it adds
And a
up.
lot of people discuss that. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate how
Mm.
difficult it can be to get a band to go somewhere and play.
Yeah, completely. It's one of the reasons I started this podcast was to kind of lift the curtain and show people how, like, even getting people in a fucking room, mate. Like, you've all got schedules, you've all got families, you've all got commitments outside of music, and
Yeah.
it's difficult. Absolute bedlam. Okay, so let's try and split the room a little bit and get some arguments going. Do you guys ever have musical creative differences? And if you do, what is the resolution behind those creative differences? If you have them and you're not living in a utopic world, of course.
There's only one that comes to mind. Can anyone remember the Snippets incident?
Yes, snippets.
So I can't remember what song it was from, but we wrote a song. It's on the new album, and Tom wrote the lyrics, and he wrote the word in the lyrics was the word snippets.
Right.
And we were like, Tom, we love you dearly and we love all your lyrics, but you can't use the word snippets. Why can't I use the word snippets? Because it sounds fucking stupid. You can't put the word snippets in a song. And then the more you say the word snippets, think about the word snippets, the more you
Mhm.
think about it, the more stupid it sounds.
Mm.
And then we had to get Justin to overrule and be like, no, no, Tom, you can't use the word snippets. We're banning you from using the word snippets.
Sounds like a brand of dog snack, doesn't it?
But other than that,
Love that.
can anyone think of a time when we've disagreed about anything musically?
No, not really, not particularly.
Fair enough.
No,
That's good.
not within the current lineup. I know it's a bit,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, not
Oh,
within the
come
current
on.
lineup.
Mm.
I,
No,
I I genuinely think that because we all have similar tastes in music, and we're all a bit muso,
Mm.
there we well, I just we like I mean, I guess from our taste in music, Noah's possibly more extreme in his likes, possibly than most. Although I have my moments, to be fair, I'm probably up with Noah with regards to the extremity of my musical taste. But at the same time, we all go all the way down to really chilled out and mellow with the stuff that we like to listen to and everything in between. And I think one of the beauties about us is that we have such a varied taste in music, um, that we are appreciative of if we like it and it has a hook, then we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, my the gigs this year, I went to see Pantera a couple of weeks ago,
Mm.
and in a couple of months, I'm going to go see Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm all
Yeah.
over the shop, all over the shop.
I dig
So
it.
I think, and also we appreciate other people's ideas, and if it works for the song, it works for the song. And I don't
Yeah.
think there's been things that we've tried and we haven't liked. And I remember when we were writing House of Lies, that was the hardest song on the album to write because we had the intro because Noah and Elliot came up with the intro. Um, and then we had a couple of riffs, but we could never join the intro to the rest of the song.
Yeah.
I remember I fucked off completely one day, and when I was doing something outside of the studio, I was like, oh, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I've got an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And then
That
we go to the
typically
studio,
happens a lot, doesn't it? Yeah.
and then we had that whole moment where Tristan's bass that we were talking about, he's got this really cool bass part and stuff like that. Then that
Mm.
came out of all of that idea. And then so
Mm.
yeah, we're really no, we don't have musical differences.
Yeah.
No, we're not
No,
really
fair enough.
not really. Sometimes, someone will say I like this song and someone will say they think it's shit, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean you get many ideas, many
Yeah.
epiphanies, Marcus. One fine example is you were driving the van and you heard the windscreen wipers, and it gave a certain contrapuntal rhythm, and you were like, "I could use that."
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Genuinely wrote a song to the windscreen wipers in my car. I can't remember which song it was. It might have even been an old one called In Vivo,
Mm.
I think it was in Vivo, yeah.
which has got that just because the windscreen wipers are doing a rhythm, and then in my brain went ooh, and that
It's,
was
it's
it.
probably
Song
uh,
was
it's probably
born.
the only time you didn't regret replacing your windscreen wipers, I
Yeah,
suppose. But yeah,
but
So,
yeah, yeah.
okay, so full clarity, what time signature and what tempo do windscreen wipers in the UK work on?
The time signature
4/4?
is in 4/4.
Okay,
Yeah.
more you know.
I can't be much more than 140 beats a minute, surely.
I think Swedish windscreen wipers would probably be more interesting.
Yeah, Swedish ones, much
Yeah,
more effective.
yeah. They kind of gallop as they clean
Yeah,
the windscreen.
there we go. You heard it here first. I love that. Awesome. Do you guys currently rehearse once a week? And do you typically go over your set list, or do you use it as an opportunity to write?
No, we don't. We're not writing at the moment.
Okay.
And to be honest, one of the issues we've got at the moment is some of us are quite far away.
Yeah.
Both Elliot and Tom live quite a distance. Elliot has family stuff which means we're lucky. So one of the reasons why we're so lucky is because what we have is we have our secret weapon, which is a Noah. And as long as Noah is rehearsed, then the rest of us are good to fucking go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if Noah turns up, sticks an and can bang it, then we're ready to go. And because this sounds pretentious, and I don't mean it to, but we are accomplished enough
Yeah.
that if we don't play together for 6 months and we've got a gig in 3 weeks and we did 2 rehearsals, we'd smash it.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
We'd be fine. We don't need a lot. The only thing that we perhaps need to catch up on more than anything is the vocals, and that's a bit it, because sometimes we've got 3-part harmonies going on and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that we really need to work on before a show. Otherwise, Noah and I practice together practically every week.
Yeah.
So Noah and I always go in the studio every week, but sometimes other people can't make it because, like we said, we're all adulting. Elliot's got a family. He's got his stepdad's not particularly well, so that causes issues. Tom lives a bloody long way away.
Yeah.
And coming to a studio on a Sunday night and then having to get back to go for work early in the morning and stuff, it's difficult. And Tristan works, so it's difficult sometimes to get us all in the room at the same time.
Yeah.
But when we do, last time we were all in the room at the same time, we rehearsed. We absolutely smashed it, didn't we?
Absolutely, yeah.
We absolutely smashed it, and that wasn't that long ago. And we hadn't rehearsed together, all of us, for probably 5 or 6 weeks. And then we walk in the room 5 or 6 weeks later, and we absolutely nailed it. So we're lucky. I think we have the best possible, thing to fall upon, which is Noah and his colossal ghost anus. I mean, feet. we call him ghost anus because when he does really quick double kicks, it looks like he starts to hover over the drum stool. And it looks like his anus is made from ghosts.
Once you say it, you can't unsay it.
You can't. You just see next time you see us play, right? If you watch it and he does real quick, like, you'll just watch this and he'll just be like, and then his feet will kick off.
Don't.
And it's like his ass is haunted, and it's just a scared of his drum stool.
He's gonna get self-conscious now. You've outed him on podcast
with his ghostly anus.
Just going back, with the exception of Noah, of being like able to go into a rehearsal room and smash it. Do you think that's just osmosis of being writing music for so long as a sort of single unit? With the exception of Elliot, who's obviously joined relatively recently in comparison to you knowing Tristan, for example, Marcus.
Yeah, probably. Also, I think it's because we've all been playing long enough.
Yeah.
And we're all accomplished enough to not need it as much.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I know that because at one point we were so busy on admin, weren't we, that we didn't step into the studio. We didn't step into a rehearsal room for about a year. Because we were so busy on. We would meet up every week, but every week it was admin. Because obviously we only get that one opportunity a week when we're all together.
Yeah, like completely.
Every week's like, right, we have this and this and this to do. So we got to do this and this. And then we didn't step into a rehearsal, actual physical rehearsal, for nearly a year. And oh my God, I think it took about a week of me just remembering a couple of riffs that I was a little bit hazy on. And then that was it. As soon as I remember the riffs, I was like, no, okay, I'm with it. We're all good enough at our instrument to be able to, I think we are, to be able to not allow ourselves to get that rusty.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
You've got a good level of discipline.
Yeah, and don't seem to get that rusty that quickly. It doesn't take us very long to get back into into the groove of it, and
Yeah.
like even with Noah and his amazing feat. However, he did. There's one song that he had, slight issue with. Didn't we, Noah?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a bit in the new song, which is
Uh,
new single, which is a struggle for our Noah, I think.
Or it was.
Not
It
It,
was.
it
anymore.
took about 4 years to like properly get it down. But it's only
Damn.
really like the end of last year into this year I've been like, I can actually do it. That
Yeah,
one bit that's been bugging me for 4 or 5 years now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a run. It was our our Sugar's Bleed
Yeah.
moment. It doesn't sound like it should be that hard to play, but then some of the hardest stuff to play never sounds like it's that hard to play.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
know what you mean.
if you took a Tool guitar riff away from the drums and bass, you'd think that's a really easy riff to play. But then you realize what he's playing it over, and it's like, oh, that makes it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Fair
drummer always
enough.
gets it in metal, I must say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Completely.
drummer always gets it in the thing,
Yeah, he does. Yeah, the drummer always gets it in metal. Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny that
definitely.
you mentioned just being absolutely buried by admin, Marcus, because when I was in Fisher Riddles, sometimes we would get together like once every 2 weeks. And I was a bit of a hard ass in Fisher Riddles. Everyone would admit it, and they're not a thing anymore, unfortunately. But I would book all the gigs and I would manage that band within an inch of its life because I didn't feel like the other members were that bothered. They just kind of wanted to play music, which is obviously fantastic, but you need an organized person in a band to be
Yes.
able to actually book gigs. And I was a fucking nightmare because I was like, right, can we play this gig or not? Like, what is it going to take for us to go to Oxford on a Friday?
Yeah.
And sometimes it just felt like playing bass was like an afterthought for me. And
Yeah.
that band as well was super, super technical. And I had to like consciously like practice every single day for like 50 minutes on bass
Yeah.
to be able to keep up with the likes of Wizzy and Mark and Lee. And
Yeah.
it was hard, man. But, sometimes you've got to play sort of kind of boss, I suppose. You've got to wear those hats like you mentioned earlier. And kind of leads me quite nicely into my next question, which is outside of music and outside of Kinasis and rehearsing and stuff. Do you guys hang out on a social level? Like you all just go to like Pizza Hut or something like that now and then?
Um, Apart from when life gets in the way, we have done. I mean, we're all getting together in a couple of weeks, but that's because I'm getting married.
Ah,
Um, but 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 yeah, yeah, I think because like I said, the main issues are that a couple of us live a long, long ass way away.
yeah,
And a lot of things have been happening recently. But yes, the
yeah,
beauty about us is I don't consider everybody in the band my bandmate. I just
yeah,
consider them my mates.
yeah.
That's, I think, an important thing is they're not just, people I play music with. They're my mates. My best friends are in my band. So
Yeah, because that's when it can start getting a bit murky, is you start seeing them as like colleagues or
yeah,
affiliates or
never
yeah,
been that way. It's never
yeah,
been that way. We are so lucky. We have never been that way ever. Not once.
mm,
We've never. It's never been that way
yeah. No,
between
fair
us
enough.
ever.
Changing gears slightly. Iverfest. Are
Yeah.
there any
Well,
chances
yeah.
of that coming back? Or how did you enjoy the last one?
Well, I mean, with the guys that either, God, that was a rough gig. So obviously the show that we did was for
Yeah,
a memorial for our unofficial sixth member, Ivor Hawthorne, who was a very close friend of mine for a very long time, and is the reason that we have a recording studio in the first place.
yeah,
So Ivor and I set up the studio with the assistance of Tristan. Um, and then obviously, oh, it was rough.
yeah,
I lost my dad. I lost my so my first daughter was born, and then I lost my dad, and then my first daughter was born 4 weeks after I lost my dad, and then a few months after that we lost Ivor. And then we did the Ivor memorial show um, on the year anniversary of my dad's death.
Right, yeah.
Um,
Mm.
to the day.
Yeah.
God, that was a rough gig.
Yeah, I bet.
That was a difficult one to play, especially when we played a cover of Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here."
Mm.
Uh, that was
Yeah.
a difficult show. The closest I've ever, I lost it. I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
but anyway, um, will we ever do it again? Probably not,
Okay.
because I don't know. It was such a thing. It was such a huge success. We raised so much because we lost Ivor to leukemia,
Right, yeah.
and we donated. We ended up being in the position where we could donate quite a few £1,000s to the local leukemia department of the hospital.
Hmm.
Um, and I think uh, well, it was about remembering Ivor. It wasn't about doing a show. It was about remembering Ivor.
Yeah.
And one thing, because now it's coming up to a long time when we lost Ivor, we're coming up to the fact that our new album has a huge dedication to Ivor in it.
Cool.
Um, Massive, in fact, unavoidable. In fact, there's no way that you can possibly miss it. Um, and we did a music. We mentioned the song earlier on, a music video called "In Vivo,"
Hmm.
and in that video, Ivor played a character. In the video, he played an entity. It was in the video, and that entity is now in the whole basis of the story for the new album, and
All right.
he is appearing in one of the videos, or two of the videos that we've got
Cool.
lined up. um
That's great.
so yeah, don't worry, he's never forgotten. And
No,
a lot of dedication to him on this new one.
he lives
Big.
on.
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
Hell
He
yeah.
lived. Yeah, we've still got his stupid face in a picture in the studio every time I walk
Yeah.
in there.
Mhm.
The only reason I ask really about the festival is because I found that being in a band and putting festivals on was fucking stressful, don't get me wrong. But also doing it for charity, there's also this like sense of like Avengers Assemble where everyone wants to get involved. Unfortunately, some people want to get involved for the wrong reasons, but I won't divulge too much into that.
Yeah, yeah,
But it just creates this like lighthouse of like everyone sort of gathers and there's like genuine hype around it. And there's bands that you might not have actually seen for like 2 or 3 years. I actually bumped into Stu from the band Hamune recently,
yes, yeah. Commune, yeah.
because my son's trying to get into bass guitar himself. And I met him at a place called Absolute Music in Poole. And I thought to myself, fucking hell, I haven't listened to Hamune in years. And there was just this like nice community sense of like, oh man, I've kind of forgot you existed.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
sometimes when you put a gig on, it kind of creates this like nice feeling of like we're all in this together, sort of,
yeah,
even if we're at
yeah.
different levels of our sort of musicalness.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. But I think that one of the things is because everything else that's going on at the moment is quite a lot. Having to put that on your plate as well as everything else to deal with, like you said, organizing a festival is. I've organized a few in the past, and it is bloody stressful.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we've got locally anyway, there's a promoter who's actually on the ball and actually doing quite good shows.
Yeah.
Um, like he just did. Oh God, who did he put on at the Palace recently?
Is it Skindred?
Skindred, yeah, he put Skindred on at the local Palace
Yeah.
nightclub, and stuff like that. He's got some good shows. He's getting some big gigs, and he's doing it all So all we do is just step on toes.
Yeah.
Um, rather play the festival than organize it. I'm
Yeah,
not
this
gonna lie.
comes back to recording, doesn't it? Of you want to focus your energy on one thing and not have to
Yeah,
dilute your.
because I spent so long probably doing everything else.
Mhm.
I spent so long like doing what you said, organizing gigs and doing all of that and organizing recording and doing all of that I'm enjoying not having to worry about that at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
enjoying being able to step away from it is actually quite a pleasure. I'm not
yeah,
going to lie. Just being a guitar player is a really lovely feeling.
yeah. This
What does
ties
it worry about?
really, this ties really nicely into my next question, which is if this does ever become a thing where you could potentially go full time. I think I know the answer to this, but would you consider getting management and booking agents and tour managers and people that can manage your social media for you, or is that
If
just a bit
if
of
we
a
were in that position, then
yeah,
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 absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Because
yeah,
like today, I had to organise putting the video on, releasing the video, the 30-second teaser for the new single.
yeah,
That stressed me out enough. You know what I mean? That was irritating enough because Facebook has become so convoluted in its way of dealing with things and ads manager
yeah,
and all of this horrendously unnecessary red tape bullshit that you have to go through just to post a fucking video on Facebook and put some and boost it effectively to the
yeah,
right
yeah.
audience in the right time frame with the right tags
Hmm.
is just the most convoluted load of bollocks I've ever gone through in my life. It took f- three-quarters of the time you were doing it just crap, and it's
Yeah,
just you go round in circles. And even Elliot last night when we were going through it, because Noah, Elliot, and I were online last night doing this thing, weren't we? And how many times Elliot, who used to literally do it for a job, so he used to literally do Facebook ads that was literally his job. Even he was going, "Oh, this is so shit. Why isn't this just working?" Going round and round in circles. It's like it's just stupid.
yeah,
Why is it not doing what I want it to do?
mm,
No, no,
yeah,
definitely. If they got to that position, it's like, no, you carry on. You do everything for me. Just tell me where to be, tell me where to go, tell me what to wear. That'll do. That's
yeah,
all I
yeah,
need to know.
We shall definitely be hiring a Facebookologist anyway to deal with our
Yeah, God,
promotions.
yeah.
Should we need to
Yeah,
promote
no,
through that channel? So
I think
yeah,
there's something truly magical about going on tour as like a comedian or something, and like just doing the shows and just actually being able to chill out in the green room. Because
yeah.
I always laugh when I see green rooms nowadays with like musical acts where it's literally everyone on their phones and on laptops, and no one's talking to each other. And there's this like table of food in the corner that's like not even being touched because you've got to promote and Instagram tags and all
Yeah.
sorts of bullshit that doesn't actually really matter. And it's
It does
funny,
it.
people think green rooms are like these amazing like chemistry pots of like networking, and I just think it's funny when you actually
Yeah,
look
no,
at
backstage at a festival these days is
yeah,
everybody is doing exactly what you just said.
yeah,
That's all. It's all you're doing. You're hashtagging this 4 minutes before you go on, and then the second that you come off, you've got to post the picture of the one that you've just taken of you on stage in front of the audience.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know the one where so stand by the drum kit and take a photo of us in front of all these people, and then 3 minutes later you're hashtagging it on Facebook and Instagram, and that's what you got to do. And it's like no
yeah,
enjoying the moment. You're like,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
that's it.
tag,
Yeah,
personal profiles go. And
yeah,
oh God, it's just let's just be mute. I
hmm,
kind of wish that I was born quite a few decades previously and I could have been a touring musician in the 70s.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, we
That's
didn't
that's
we
that's what
didn't know
appeals.
what we didn't know back then, and there was no social media. It was let's stick a poster up on a wall, and if people show up, then that's absolutely fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And that's
yeah,
how you used to advertise a gig. You used to go around and put posters up in shops
yeah,
and advertise in a paper and do all that kind of stuff. And that was a lot easier than arsing
yeah,
about, literally.
yeah. I'm running out of musical questions, so I've got one left, and obviously you can ask questions after and all that sort of stuff. But what do you think Kinasis looks like currently in 2025? What's your sort of goals and visions for this year, considering there's like 8 months left? And what does 2026 look like if you've even considered that far ahead at the moment?
Okay. 2025 looks like releasing an album and doing a couple of good shows. 2026 hopefully would involve doing some. We'd like to jump on a few festivals next year. Uh,
Definitely, yeah.
that's what we'd like to do. We'd like to jump on a few festivals. Like I said, we don't want to slog our guts out doing 30 capacity venues anymore, but we would love to get the opportunity because we've played a few of the festivals in the past. We played Rabbit Fest and all that kind of stuff. Um, and Bloodstock and stuff. But we'd love to be able to get the opportunity to go back to Bloodstock. We'd love to get the opportunity to go back to a few of these festivals and play some decent shows. Um, we're a little bit more quality over quantity.
Yeah,
Um, we'd much rather play decent shows. I mean, you can play one show at a decent festival and get more out of it than 15 shows in front of
completely.
20 people at a time.
Completely agree.
And it's also a better, we're not saying that we deserve it, or we're not saying that we're owed it, or we're not even saying, that we're too pretentious enough to turn down the small shows. It's just the logistics of it make it impossible.
Yeah.
And Elliot struggles with live shows because of his family circumstances at the moment.
Okay.
Uh, so it's different when it's a decent show. It's like, yeah, we'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just want to get a nice run of we'd like to get a nice run of some decent festival appearances, I reckon.
Mm.
What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Definitely. I mean, for me, definitely the festival scene's the way to go.
Hmm, I think so. What
What
about
about
you,
you,
Noah?
Noah?
Yeah, same. Festivals all the way. Um, yeah, I
None of
don't
those
know about
tiny ass little
tours or
shows.
anything like that, but huh,
Say again?
I said I don't know about things like tours or anything like that, but festivals definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like the tour. When was that? When we did that tour with Engraved Disillusion? Can you remember the last show when? Oh God, this I felt so sorry for the promoter. He booked the biggest hall. Can you remember?
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
was the biggest hall and a big stage and loads of lights. And at the same day, there was a big band playing about 10 miles down the road, like a
Oh,
really big band
Was it?
playing 10 miles down the
Yeah.
road,
classic. Yeah.
and no one turned up. It must
Mm.
have cost him a fortune.
Mm.
It was just the most ridiculous gig. And tours can be all right as long as the venues are all right and as long as but like a tour can be just as much of a pain in the ass as anything else. As long as it's a good one, then fine. Yeah, bang on. We'll get on it. But
Yeah.
if like, yeah, do you want to do the UK run with Meshuggah? Yeah, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll do that. That's not a problem. But do you
Yeah.
want to spend 14 days playing in front of 10 people a night? No, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. We've got about 8 minutes left on this one, but that really nicely ties into a quote that I heard recently, which is if it's not a fuck yes, it's a hell no.
Yeah.
So like when you get
Mhm.
offered gigs like that, you're like, okay, we need to actually think about this.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like, do you want to open for a band that have been playing covers for 4 months and it's in the middle of a place called Yeovil or just like some of the gigs I've played, some of the pubs I've played, man, like we've got a really good one here, which obviously you guys know really well, is Finn's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other
Yeah.
than that,
Love
it's
playing fins.
just
Love playing fins.
some
Yeah.
of the fucking venues in Weymouth, mate. They're like falling apart in real
We
time.
haven't even heard about fins for a long time.
Yeah, it's still
As far as
going.
we, but they
Yeah,
don't seem to do original. Like we played there Oh
Yeah.
man, how many times have we played Finns? Finns always reminds me of that time when Tristan was picked on by a seagull.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was stalking me.
yeah, he was stalking. So every time Tristan, we was parked in a car park not far away from
Yeah, yeah,
Finn's,
I know what you mean.
there was a seagull that every time Tristan walked out of the van would dive bomb him. It was the best. But yeah, like we'd love like like Finn's was always a good gig,
Yeah,
always.
there's a great crowd, a genuine good return on investment in Weymouth because people show up. Because it's
Yeah.
almost like this starvation mentality of like, if you get the offer to go to a gig and it's not covers, like you've just mentioned. Yeah, Finns is in a bit of a turbulent state, I think. It's like tribute bands and covers or
Yeah.
nothing. And Wizzy tried to put loads and loads of gigs on recently, and the landlord was like, I can only pay this amount. And Wizzy was like, what, just for us? And he was like, no, for the whole night. And it's just not financially viable.
Mm.
But we'll see
And the
if we
problem
can
is
sort something out.
the state of the world at the moment is you cannot ignore the financial side of things.
Completely. Yeah, I
You
completely agree.
can't. You can't even as a band. This is the problem, isn't it? Because even even established bands are struggling.
Yeah.
But even as a band, you especially can't ignore it because you put as a musician yourself the amount of money and time it takes you to get to the point where you can stand on stage in front of people
Mhm.
is almost outrageous.
Yeah.
I don't think about how much money I've spent on guitars and music equipment, how much time I've spent learning my craft and all of this, and
Yeah.
then to do that and the amount of money it costs to get to a show, you cannot ignore it. You
Yeah.
you can't ignore it. You have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
It's stupid to ignore that and just blindly fly. We were offered a show. It was way up north for us. Like it was like 5.5 hour drive, and it was like, do you want? Yeah, it's a free gig
Mhm.
playing with X and X and X, and we were like, oh fuck no.
Exactly.
Like 5.5 hours,
Yeah.
free gig, then it's like, it's going to be one
Yeah.
of those kind of gigs. And it's like, no, no, we
Yeah.
just can't warrant it. We have to be able to warrant it. And if
Yeah.
there's a return from it, we can do it, but we have to be realistic.
Yeah. You need to
You know, I've
cultivate
got,
something out of it and potentially
I've
go
got
back there
kids.
next year or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I've got kids. Elliot's got kids. We've all got responsibilities. None of us are particularly well off. And it's that you've got to think about that. You can't just throw money down endlessly because it's like, you either spend the money on the quality of releasing, because what we have spent money on is the quality of our videos,
Yeah.
and the production of our album,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Uh, and we can warrant that. But when you're spending that money on that, that does take out of the pot to spend money on other things like driving 5.5 hours to a gig in front of 40 people.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely. Just the last question on booking and gigs and stuff. How do people get in touch with you guys if they want to try and book you for a gig/festival? Do you have an email address?
Yeah, we've got email, Facebook, all socials.
Okay.
Basically,
Awesome.
that's the advantage about the modern era. It's just socials. You can get hold of us on every single platform available, apart from TikTok, because it's shit.
Yeah, it's really shit. It's a weird place, man. It's like a Ponzi
Yeah,
scheme.
yeah.
I
I'm
get
just so
thousands of views, but then nothing gets converted.
yeah.
Like if I got like 70,000 views on TikTok and then I got one subscriber on YouTube, I'd consider doing more of it, but I
Yeah.
don't get anything outside of TikTok. It's like its own echo chamber. It's
Mhm.
really weird. I've never experienced anything like it before.
I know someone who got TikTok famous
Mm,
recently, um, because they cut their kids' dinner into amusing shapes, and then that was taken on by someone else.
right.
And now they're earning money out of TikTok. It's like, I'm not sure how the fuck that happened. You
It's
cut your
mental.
kids' sandwiches into a dinosaur shape, and now you've got 50
Yeah.
grand in. How the fuck did you do? You manage to do that?
Yeah.
You
It
know?
seems to be the less effort, the more attention it gets, which is just this really fucked up, paradoxical thing that creators, like someone takes a viral video of their dog doing something like a backflip, and like you've just said, you spent 5 months learning guitar and it gets like fucking 64 views. You're like, what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, you've got someone, a guitar player who spent 20 years learning his craft to play something, you'll get 14 views.
Yeah,
Someone else sneezes a fart bubble out of their face and gets 150,000 views, and then all of a sudden is minted.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
how did that happen? Or you've got these videos at the moment where you've got people where there's music going on and all they do is pull faces at it.
yeah.
I don't know whether I'm beyond understanding of the stupidity of
Yeah.
some social media. I don't understand
I,
it.
I
It's
remember I
just
remembered your
moron.
bemusement over we were putting out posts regularly and we were getting a few views, but yet I took a photo of a dog in our van, and that kind of like got thousands of views or something,
Yeah,
didn't it? Just because of a dog sat in a van. It's like woof, you know.
yeah, it's
Mental.
stupid. It's
Yeah.
stupid. But there's this. But I could I'll spend 10 years learning how to play a certain guitar part, and
Mhm.
I'll play it. It'd be perfect, and it'd be like, yeah, 3 views, and one person
Yeah.
goes, yeah, nice one.
The
Yeah.
irony is, I'm going to clip
Years,
this
man.
up. I'm going to clip this up, this exact moment here, and put this on TikTok.
I
Slave to the fucking machine. Oh dear. Just
think
quickly
maybe we all.
before,
Sorry.
your email address, is it kinasisofficial@gmail.com?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Yes,
I just thought that was important, so then people can start
we're
sending
lucky.
spam emails from Nigerian princes and shit, you know?
We're the only Kinasis in the world. No one has our
Okay.
name.
Awesome.
You can't miss us. Kinasis.
Love that. This is the thing that I get most excited about, unfortunately. So, each of you individually, I want to know the weirdest place you've ever slept.
Weirdest place I've ever
I could
slept.
start.
I know I've got
Here we
two
go.
that are.
Go on, Tristan.
I have fallen asleep in reens before, which are kind of like ditches.
Yeah?
Um, which and I had a really good night's sleep, to be fair. I
Yep.
did get gnawed by a badger, but other than that, it was all good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's not a badger, it's someone else. So,
yeah.
I went to see
yeah.
Dream Theater in London and slept on a bench outside the train station
Yeah.
in Pancras. And once, I'm not really sure how I ended up there, but again, I was in London. I woke up in the morning by being pushed out of the way of the door of Virgin Megastore when the staff were trying to open up.
Yep.
So I woke up at Virgin Megastore's doorway before. I
Yeah.
have no fucking clue how I got there. I don't know what happened, but that's where I woke up.
Yeah.
And my friend once woke up in a bus shelter being prodded by an old lady with a walking stick because she thought he was dead. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Consider it.
as that's unusual as it got for me. A park bench outside St. Pancras and Virgin Megastore window, just near what building was it? No, I can't remember what it was now. Just the outskirts, yeah, middle of London. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Noah? We say the best till last.
I don't know. I don't really have any weird places that I've slept.
Okay, we need to work on that then.
Next to me.
In 12 months, we'll get you back on and we'll see
I,
what's
I do.
happened.
I do also with
We'll strap it to the van, the roof of the van or something. Sleep there, man.
I do have a great ability to fall asleep very quickly and snore incredibly quickly as well. So there
Yeah.
was an episode when we were coming back from Glasgow in
Mhm.
the JCB van, and we were in the service station. I was like, I was in the back with the equipment with Jace. I went, right, we're off to bed. Good night. And my
Yeah.
snoring probably resonated the entire van for about 8 hours. I had a brilliant night's sleep. The rest of the band didn't.
No,
Yeah.
it's awful. I felt so sorry for Jace because you were sat next to Jace, laying next to Jace.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Favorite fruit of all time?
Pineapple for me.
Interesting.
I
That was
love
quick
pineapple.
as well. You were in there quick with
Yeah.
pineapple.
That was like premeditated,
Yeah. No. Massively.
prepared for this moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I love melon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I love melons.
Okay.
I do. I love melon and everything. All bananas. I love bananas.
Mango as well is my go-to fruit.
I've got a little interesting fact. My mum can't say the word mango.
How does she
Okay.
pronounce it?
She calls them mangles.
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 Ah,
She can't say the word mango.
bit like the
Okay.
Bristolians can't pronounce profiteroles.
No,
They
they
call them
can't.
clitorals.
Clitorals.
Yeah, clitorals.
Looks like cool.
What's your favorite
So,
fruit now? We're all interested.
yeah, let's go.
Mine's probably mango or grapes.
Mangles.
Grapes.
Probably mango. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bum grapes. He likes a bum grape.
As a kid, I was obsessed with like de-skinning grapes for like a month. I thought I was like some sort of Greek god, or fetch
Fruit
me
That's
the
a
surgeon.
pretentious way
yeah,
to eat a grape. No, no, no. I will only
fucking
have it if
hell.
it's unsheathed.
Yeah,
Yes.
the birth
I
of
will skin you,
autism.
grape.
Yeah. Favorite internet meme currently?
Oh, I like.
Anything that makes Donald Trump look like an ass.
Doesn't take much, does it?
There's a
To be fair.
wonderful one actually. There's a beautiful one of just Elon Musk's face when he's realizing that he lost $29 billion in one day. That's a pleasant picture. I enjoy that one a lot. That one's nice to see.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. What about you
But yeah,
guys?
otherwise,
Don't
For me,
really
anything involving
have one, isn't
huskies
it?
and cats
I'm
doing
just sat here
stupid
looking
things.
through, trying to find one. But
Huskies, did you say, Tristan?
Yeah, anything. Yeah, sulking huskies.
Yeah.
sulking huskies.
Yeah.
I try and spend as little time as possible. I got as little time as possible. Although this one did. This one made me laugh. Can you see this one? Hang on a second.
Oh yeah,
Right, that's a cat riding a unicorn, and it says, "And
absolutely.
I looked and behold a pale horse, and its rider's name was Death. Onward, Buttercup. There are shenanigans and fuckery up ahead."
Gets my approval.
Yeah, I approve too.
Noah is extensively searching the internet for the best
I
meme.
am.
He has to go through all his knob shots on his phone. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, when you take the bins out, do you know which bin to take out, or do you follow what your neighbors do? And I've recently coined this question, Bimfluencer. So are you a Bimfluencer? Do you know your shit? Do you know it's green or black? Or do you end up just following what the neighbors do?
Because I'm such a sad fuck piece, I know when it is.
Hmm.
I'm the same. I'm not a
Because
bin sheep.
Don't want to get
no,
left out, do you?
I'm
Yeah.
not a bin sheep. I know I'm a bin leading
Yeah.
bin leader.
You
That
are,
was
yeah.
that was nearly Bin Laden, Marcus, and
I'm an
that would have
Osama bin lead.
mad.
I'm a Osama bin leader. That's what I
Okay.
am.
So technically, both you and I are influencers then.
We are influencers. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what's what. I know what's what, and even to the point where because my missus currently doesn't live with me, um, I know when her bin day is as well.
Does it slightly deviate?
Yes, yes, it does. Her black bin days are different days to mine.
Which is
Wow.
crazy because you're just down the road from her. So
Mm.
Wow,
There
that
you
is
go.
crazy.
I know, right? How sad
Okay.
am I?
Yeah, that is pretty mad. Pretty sad. Okay, so if you could take one item away from a house to slightly inconvenience someone, what would the item be and why? So example, plug holes.
Door handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take the door handles. I totally take the door handles off the door.
Yeah.
First thing, just because I've done it to someone before and it amused me greatly. Because it's one of those where you could take one side of the door handle off and then push the other side off. So both handles would come off the door.
Yeah. Nice.
Meow. No, no, I won't. No, I won't. I'm not going to do it. So that's the first thing I do. Door handles, easy, easy.
What
Right.
about you, Tristan?
could glue the kettle to the ceiling, perhaps.
Okay.
Possibly. I
Inventive.
don't know. Yeah. Bit of a Roald Dahl influence there, I think.
I think
Uh,
people from the UK would genuinely have a breakdown after like a couple of hours of not being able to make a cup of tea.
I could do the toaster as well, actually.
Yeah, just all of
Yeah.
it. Just
Fiantos.
Yeah.
where's your head at? Yeah, nice. Cool. What about you, Noah? What would you do?
pass. I don't know.
Take.
Well, you want about taking all the rubbish up to your neighbour the other day and dumping it outside their front door because they were being arses.
That
That
was
thing.
their rubbish, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Take their rubbish and dump it outside their door so you don't have to pick it up outside your house anymore.
Well, they keep it on my drive, so
They're rubbish, but it's not packaged in nice bin bags for you, is it? It's just all over the place.
yeah, yeah. The seagulls will come in and just help themselves. It's great.
I think nowadays you could cause genuine insanity if you took someone's internet router away.
Yeah,
Because you're just
yeah.
completely fucked now, aren't you? Like Netflix, Amazon Prime,
Mm.
Zoom, YouTube. It's all, we don't own anything anymore, do we? We just own the internet.
But that is
All right.
that's such a sad fact, Ben. That's
Yeah,
so
man,
sad.
that's my thing. I love being
Mm.
negative. Don't know if you've noticed.
Mm.
Okay. Are you guys into the paranormal? Do you believe in bad luck, superstition, the number 13, or have you all seen ghosts?
No, I don't believe in ghosts. Um, I'm a very big. I'm not a religious person. I'm not a believer in ghosts. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit. I am sometimes superstitious though.
You
Weird.
definitely, me and you definitely share magpie superstitions.
Yeah, I
I'm,
do salute
yeah,
magpies.
I have to say hello to magpies, even if I'm driving
Um,
past.
Yep. Even
What's
that
Yeah.
can be
okay, but
that. Yeah.
what's your terminology when so there's several different sayings that you're supposed to say when you see a magpie. What's your go-to?
It's
Mine
usually
is
good morning.
Good morning or good afternoon for
Yeah.
Mr. Magpie.
Sorry, Tristan, I
It's
didn't mean to
always a
cut you
Mr.
off.
Magpie.
good day to you, sir. That's what I say to the magpie.
I always say good morning or good afternoon or whatever it is, Mr. Magpie. How's your wife?
Yeah. Yeah, I've
That's
heard
one
that as well.
that's the one I've heard a long time ago, and that's the one I keep to. And also, Uh,
Mhm.
I don't walk on three drains.
Yeah.
Two drains is fine. Four drains is fine, but you don't walk on three. And I know where that superstition comes from.
Yeah.
Um, which I can give you a little tale about
Yeah,
where
yeah.
this. So the superstition about not walking on three drains is because during the war, when you got drain covers, um, people used to put mines
Okay.
under the middle one, which is why you'd never walk on three drains. So people would put mines under them, which is why people don't, which is why it became a superstition.
Hmm.
And I don't walk under signs either, which I think is more of a sensible thing because things less likely to land on your head. So
That,
you get the signs on pathways,
yeah.
I don't walk under them or anything like
Like
that.
Final Destination style.
Yeah, yeah. If it's because I think sometimes luck's shit enough as it is. If there was an entity out there that had something to do with luck, why poke the bear? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that I do which are superstitious, but that is it. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah. No, fair enough. What about you guys? Are you into superstition or the paranormal at all?
Not really superstitious. No. Um,
I think sometimes there's an element of like fate where like you you walk under a ladder and you go, fuck, I've walked under a ladder. Something bad's gonna happen.
And
And
yeah,
then
it's
something bad happens and you're like, oh
yeah,
well, I've got something to blame.
yeah. You end up exactly that's it, or you'll connect the two.
Yeah.
You'll walk under a
100%.
ladder, and then like five hours later, you'll drop a tin of paint, and you'll be like, "That's because I walked
Yeah.
under the ladder."
Yeah, we're
It's
really
not.
good at connecting things, aren't we? And
Yeah,
blaming other things that aren't
exactly. Yeah,
us. Okay, last question. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
always a
Um,
pleasure.
what's one feature about yourselves that you really like? See, I switch it at the end to positive. See?
You did, yeah,
Mm.
you did. And that came as a bit of a swerve call. Something about myself that I really like. Um, I'm confident, not arrogant.
Yeah.
Um, I'm confident in my own ability. I know who I am. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. Um, I'm not phased by fame. I'm not phased by people. I'm not phased by large crowds.
Hmm.
I'm not phased by any of that because I've been in the most ridiculous situations in the past, and it's kind of just been bore out of me. Um, but I'm not to the point where I'm arrogant about it.
Yeah.
I'm confident in my own abilities and I know what I'm capable of.
Mm.
And I will sing that praise because at the end of the day, one of the main things about being British is this self-deprecation you always go through. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what we are as a nation. We are so bad at it. But occasionally, it's nice to just be like, no, I'm all right. I'm all right at that.
Yeah.
I can do that. I'm not. I don't get nervous. I don't get nervous playing shows anymore. Um,
Mm.
I know that when we go on stage, we're good. I know that we are.
Mm.
That's not an arrogance thing. That's a confidence thing. And I think there's a difference between being arrogant and being confident. Um, and some people are a bit stuck on which one's which.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I'm happy to be confident, not arrogant. Yeah,
Know your own ability.
yeah.
Okay. What about you, Tristan?
I don't know. I like Marcus. I'm also emotionally resilient, I would say, to many things. And as years have gone on, I'm pretty unfazed by anything really. Nothing really surprises me anymore. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but
You like to
generally that's it. Yeah,
you like to roll with the punches rather than throw your toys out the pram the second there's a bit of resistance.
yeah. So I'm quite good at handling contentious situations and making a joke out of it.
Mm.
Definitely.
Calm under pressure. What about
Yeah,
you?
and it keeps me out of trouble.
What about you, Noah?
I guess I'm probably most confident in my musical ability. Oh, who would have guessed? But no, I mean, I'm at a point like Marcus. I'm confident with things. I can play pretty much anything. Been doing it 15 years now.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest part of who I am.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's the thing, isn't it? You're not. The thing is, especially with regards to you, Noah, you're not. You are extremely capable, like one of the best drummers ever. And but God, there's no arrogance in that ability at all. Like none,
Mm.
none. That's a really quite a wonderful thing because I know other musicians who are extremely good who are arrogant as shit.
There's also this other side where like when I went to school, um, people would like self-deprecate their own like ability. So they would hold up like a painting of something in art and say, "Oh, this is shit." And they want the whole class to be like, "No, it's not. It's fantastic." And
Mm.
I think that attitude is just so toxic and so like just not
Fishing for
authentic.
compliments, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
fishing
Yeah.
for compliments. It's yeah, that oh God, yeah, that's
Constant
Yeah.
seeking of validation
Yeah.
definitely is
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my I agree with you. It is definitely a bugbear.
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean I've never I'm not bothered about fishing for compliments. It's nice to hear a compliment. But I wouldn't go off stage and be like, yeah, we weren't very good. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that if I thought we were good, I'd come off stage and be like, yeah, I think we did all right. I think we did all right. You know,
Six set, bro.
six set, bro. Six set, bro. The most said words at every gig ever in the history of all gigs. How was our set? Yeah, it was six set, bro. Did you watch it?
I
No.
watched 7 seconds of it and then I went
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
And then
I
I
was
went
being harassed by a
outside.
seagull.
Exactly that. That's exactly what that's what a lot
Awesome.
of bands do, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, six set, bro. Didn't watch any of it, but six set, we heard it from the
Yeah.
van. That's what we did.
Yeah, we heard it from 400 meters away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you for coming on as always. Check out Human Disease and check out the new album when it drops. And yeah, get in touch with Kinasis. And if you own a venue or you know someone that's a promoter, then get in touch with them.
Come and
And
say hi. We're nice but not pretentious and even
yeah,
slightly arrogant.
yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. And yeah, keep it bedlam and speak to you soon.
Thanks, Ben. Take care, buddy.
Oh, thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ben.